The fourth set will be played on Korhal Floating Island. Spawning in the bottom right-hand position as the red Zerg from STX Seoul. Known as a cheeser from time to time, his name is hyvaa.
His opponent is a blue Protoss player from EGTL, top left-hand position on the map. His name is Oz.
Oz showing steady improvement throughout the Pro League season. hyvaa in round of 16 WCS, his first opponent was Rain. He got beaten by him 2-0, I believe. But overall, you know, at least he's been practicing that matchup a lot, so that should help him out a little bit here against his opponent. And hey, look at this. We're going to be seeing a 9 pull from hyvaa. At this point, no one should actually really be surprised anymore.
And this is the perfect location for him to do so. Remember, this is the 11 o'clock and the 5 o'clock spawning position for these two players.
That's true. Oz will be able to wall off one side, but he can't wall off both sides at the same time here. So that's going to be the problem here for a Protoss player from EGTL. He needs to find a way to deal with this 9 pool here. If you open up with the Forge, I could see it working, but right now we don't have anything being produced from Oz quite yet here.
Yeah, and remember, this is not a 10 pool, this is a 9 pool, which means that Zerglings are going to arrive a tad bit early. We already have up to 14 probes and no Forge. This means that the Zerglings are going to go inside the main base, no problem.
All right, 4 6-lings in production here now for hyvaa. He's going to be sending those across the map, and generally Protoss players will wall off at the bottom ramp, not the top, when it comes to the upper left corner base here. And yeah, Oz going for an expansion first here. The question is hyvaa going to build more Zerglings behind this, or is he just going to get a queen and drone up after these initial 6?
Well, he's getting up to 10 Zerglings total right now as he's gearing towards the attack against his opponent. Now, Oz is getting a second pylon, he is getting a Forge, so if he sees a Zergling swimming by, he can wall off the natural on the top as long as the pylon finishes.
The probe sees what's going on here, and instantly we see Oz cancel his expansion here, and it looks like he wants to wall off, so kind of a desperation move. hyvaa, what he needs to do is start attacking these buildings. He can even attack the supply depots as well here if he wants to try to break through in that position there. Oz trying to go for a desperate wall-off here, adding on a couple of additional gateways up to 3 now, starting his initial cannon as well, but the Zerglings, can they get in before this wall-off and the cannon completes?
First pylon does go down, but remember, all Oz has to do is wall off this area completely. The supply depot on the bottom is taken out, but is there a gap over there? No, seems like it's so tight.
They can't get through, but the Zerglings can get almost a full surround on the gateway here. The cannon getting very close to completing. hyvaa realizing this, gets an expansion behind this as well as a lot of additional drones. And so this is weird. Oz, he's kind of walled off here, but he can't expand anytime soon.
Yeah, that's the problem. And look at this Oz. He is inside the main base. He is at the natural. He's trying to see if his opponent took a hatchery behind this, but he doesn't see anything over there. In fact, hyvaa just mind gaming his opponent. He is taking the hatchery on the right position instead of the usual natural over there.
That's actually really smart that he's doing that, but this pylon could prove a bit of a nuisance later on if hyvaa doesn't scout that at some point in the game. He does see the probe over here, and I'm not sure if he's going to try to grab that additional expansion anytime soon here. hyvaa's been droning up a lot behind this, getting the extractor as well. The probe will indeed scout this expansion here as it finishes.
But the Overlord also scouts the pylon that has been planted inside the natural.
So that's nice from hyvaa that he sees that. And interestingly enough, he is going to kill off the rocks there, trying, I guess, walling off Oz for himself in that base there. The Zealot is out, and will we see these Zerglings get microed properly against them?
Well,
that Zealot actually has to be careful. He doesn't want to get killed by the debris there.
So now with the pylon being scouted, all hyvaa can do right now is stabilize on 2 bases while taking out this pylon and trying to go for a different kind of game. Yes, the early Zerglings forced a lot of buildings, and yes, it did force a cancel on the Nexus, but Oz did not die to the 9 pool.
He didn't die. Oh, the Zerglings over here, if they get a good surround on these units. No, that's not going to happen. They're moving away. The Zergling speed not yet complete here. The Stalkers can kite potentially pretty well against them. And we do have a Stargate opening from Oz here following the Nexus. 10 lings in production as he starts to work on some of these rocks here.
And also speed is out on the way from a Zerg player. hyvaa seems like he wants to catch his opponent off guard once again, running the Zerglings into the main base, into the natural, and dealing severe economic damage.
Can make it work here, and yeah, the Zerglings with the creep going to easily scare away those Stalkers over the Zealot in a good position here. hyvaa, he needs to control this perfectly. It looks like he will indeed pick off that Zealot. Not too much losses here. And the Zergling speed going to complete soon, but will it complete soon enough? Before, oh, actually, hold that thought, though. A lot of Zerglings into the main base of hyvaa here. He is just moving forward. The Zergling's going to be able to pick off a lot of workers as well. Oz doing the best he can, the micro against this, but I mean, even if he kills off the Zerglings, he's now down to 27 workers.
Yeah, and in fact, because earlier in the game he was walled off tight in this position, he forgot to make a semi-wall after taking down the neutral supply depot. Now the speed is finished, but Oz is in perfect position. And look at this third hatchery positioning from hyvaa.
Huh. Very odd. Generally, we'll see the Zerg players take the hatcheries a little bit closer to his base here, but I mean, I guess in this position he can spread the creep closer to his opponent's base a little bit faster. And, the expansions, it's still, I guess, a place where you can defend. Just very odd that he's expanding there.
So now this is turning into a little bit weird game where both players are trying to stabilize on 2 bases or 3 bases depending on the race, and the Phoenixes are out from our Protoss player Oz as hyvaa is losing a couple of overlords around the map.
He is losing some overlords here. He's still looking like he's in a solid position, though. Actually, Oz, he has managed to almost completely catch up in supply in this position. Using those Phoenix. Actually, they've picked off a good amount of overlords here. This has been a good investment from Oz.
Now, hyvaa, if he scouted the Stargate position from his opponent, he could have gotten those overlords out of position, but unlucky for him, he's gonna get supply blocked.
Alright. Quickly making overlords again. Looks like he'll be safe on that front, at least for now. Getting the +1 ranged attack for his units. hyvaa, that is. Building a lot of Zerglings behind this, though. 18 Zerglings. He's getting the Hydra Den as well. Looks like he wants to defend against potential pressure here. I think, though, Oz may just grab an expansion behind this instead and go for the third.
I'm not surprised that hyvaa is getting a lot of Zerglings out, because he's one type of player where he wants to aggressively attack his opponent until he taps out of the game, or until hyvaa is forced to tap out of the game.
Alright, looks like we do see Oz. We try to grab an expansion here. Oh, the Zerglings, though, getting a great surround on the units over here. Will it be enough? They're working on the sentry. One falls. The second one will fall as well before the Zerglings run out of there. Still, overall, a nice trade from hyvaa. That's 200 gas that now needs to be reinvested into sentries and not into maybe a Colossus with a Colossus tech.
This also means that he's going to have less force fields if hyvaa decides to press on for the attack anytime soon in the third area. Up to 5 Phoenixes right now, and he goes inside the main base, but the Spore Crawler is in position, so all Oz can do is pick up some drones inside the main base.
Still overall good control with these Phoenix. They've accomplished a lot this game. We have a potential wall off here from Oz as well and towards the third base. The Zerglings still around the map, trying to just be aggressive, poke around where they can here. They have the Spire on the way. That's very common behind getting the Hydras and the Zerglings here. The Hydras are spotted as well. They're trying to grab the Phoenixes if they can here.
Yeah, but hyvaa also not pushing out anytime soon. He wants to make sure that he can take out the Phoenix if he has a chance to.
The Overseer going to be chased away for now. Not going to get picked off. Man, those Phoenix have got to be so annoying for hyvaa right now. I know that all he wants to do is get rid of those so he can be more aggressive on the map here.
In fact, because of the Phoenixes and because of the Hydra staying back inside the main base, he bought enough time to get the Colossus out to get more gas out for the force fields that he lost early in the game.
Yep. So that's completely true. Good point. We also have the +2 attack for the Hydras now as well. And getting the Hydra range. Trying to pick off a few more Phoenix here. Don't think it's going to happen. Actually, the Hydra's going to be the one that gets picked off this time around. The third Nexus is complete. Actually, 30 Zerglings in production here for hyvaa. I am a little bit worried for him, though, because the Colossus tech is going to be out here really soon.
Yeah, the first Colossus is out, but still it's not a critical amount from our Protoss player. So if there's a lot of units going for the attack, and if the force fields are slightly out of position, then hyvaa can still win the engagement. So it's really up to Oz and his positioning of the units to defend against this attack.
Looks like hyvaa is saving up a lot of gas here. He really wants to go into the mute attack here. The problem is the Phoenix on the board right now. They're not going to allow the mute attack here. Alright, the Hydras, can they make some damage get done here? The Zergling's going for a counter run by at third base. They're going to go focus on the next. Actually, they may be able to pick it off. if they all focus fire down there. Oh no, Hyvaa though, he's losing a lot of his units here. Excellent force fields from Oz. The Nexus is going to end up falling. The probes now attacking the Zerglings as well. And it looks like this attack from Hyvaa has completely failed here. Oz now ahead of his opponent by 30 supply.
Nice defense by Oz. The probes surrounding the Nexus and going for the Zerglings along with the Nexus cannon. Saves the Nexus. And now Hyvaa is in an awkward position. He is taking 2 extra hatcheries behind this. But remember, Hyvaa lost a couple of Hydras and his opponent did not lose any critical units or critical buildings behind this.
And still 4 Phoenixes remain here for Oz. You know, Oz really, he's actually been playing very solid this game. You know, the initial damage done to him did throw him off a little bit, but he maintained his composure. We've gotten to the point of the game where Oz is ahead, and he sees, I believe he spotted that extra base. He's going to lose, I think, another Phoenix potentially here. Down to 3 now.
Yeah, but still annoying for the Zerg player as, you know, up to 3 Phoenixes, they can snipe the drones easily once Zerg's Hyvaa's units are out of position. Behind this, Hyvaa is getting additional upgrades. He is getting the Corruptors out against the Colossus, but because of the failed attack a little bit earlier into the game, his unit count is lower than the Protoss player. In fact, if we look at the supply, it's 149 to only 150 of Hyvaa.
So this is it's gonna go to a point. Oz may want to go for an attack here. I don't think that Hyvaa can actually defend his expansions here without a few more units or perfect positioning in micro. Yeah, the Colossus, man, they're just gonna tear apart through these Hydras here. All right, the Corruptors moving forward now, trying to do a little bit of damage here as well. The Stalkers, though, on the low ground there are gonna be able to deal with these Corruptors pretty efficiently here.
The first Colossus does get taken out. The second one being focus fired as our player Oz is losing a few Colossus here and there, but no, the Corruptors are melting and Hyvaa's Hydras are gonna melt to the Colossus over here.
He did manage to pick off almost every single Colossus here, just 1 left. Additional reinforcements coming in here from Oz as well. The Blank and +2 are about to complete yet, but they're not yet done in this position. The single Colossus is dangerous, but if that Colossus falls, it's going to change everything here. Nice round from Hyvaa as well. He's going to be attacking the last of the Phoenix, are moving back here, and the Corruptor's going to try to pick off the last of these units here. Can Hyvaa defend? The Zerglings are doing an amazing job here, and Oz, he's just losing a little bit too many units. Moving in now with additional Stalkers here. The Blinking +2 is still not complete, though.
Yeah, but he did lose a lot of drones behind us, so as long as Oz goes back and just defends against Hyvaa's counterattack, he is completely fine. Look at the probe count to the drone count, 73 probes, so only 56 drones from Hyvaa.
Yeah, so actually in this position, it looked like it was going to be a little bit worse of a trade for Oz, but in the end, you know, based on him killing all of those drones, that's a lot of less units that we're seeing on the field here from him, and the game kind of evens out once again.
Yeah, so if Hyvaa tries to go for counterattack, it could be scary, but Oz, because of the wall at third base, because of the map awareness that he has, and the single Colossus that he has, he can defend against Hyvaa's next wave of units as long as he has a nice force fields and nice positioning.
Alright, Hyvaa's going to go ahead and grab his +2 carapace upgrade for his ground units here. The Zealot's going to kill off the rest of the Zerglings here. Only attacks for the Hydras at this point here. The Zerglings just have +1 armor, no +1 attack. We're seeing a Void Ray out for Oz now, and he's getting more behind this, grabbing a 4th expansion as well. Looks like he really wants to start moving into that very powerful Void Ray Colossus army composition. Hyvaa's still on layer tech as well. That's very important to point out here. He's not going to have any Vipers anytime soon. He's not even going to have any Infestors or Swarm Hosts here because there's no Infestation Pet.
Yes, but if there's an engagement between the 2 players, if he can take out the Colossus as soon as the battle begins, Hyvaa can still win the engagement because right now his opponent Oz is getting the Void Rays, yes, but it's not a critical amount. In fact, we only have 2 Void Rays in this army composition.
Yeah, and the Colossus count's still pretty low from last time we looked at it. There's another one in production. The Mothership Core just finishes as well. I'd love to see Hyvaa try to go for the 4th base over here. We have a War Prism on the way, though, from Oz as well. Going to try to take out that expansion in the top right from the look of things. Hyvaa moving in here. That's definitely not a smart decision. He realizes that, backs out now, and he is moving into more of a Roach Hydra army composition. War Prism warping into a few units here, just out of the range of this creep here, and Hyvaa, he's going to have to bring units back to defend against that.
Yeah, well, Hyvaa is not focused inside this main base right now, as the Zealots just move in, and he has no defense over here.
Now the hatchery most likely going to get picked off at this point. He's moving all of his units back to defend against that. and this is going to give enough time to Oz to allow him to secure his expansion over here as well at the 4th base position.
It not only allows him to secure the 4th base, but it also buys him enough time to get more Void Rays, more Colossus finishes, plus 3 upgrades, and the Templar Archives to finish. Really nice shot by Oz using the Warp Prism to delay his opponent's timing attack just to get all of those things out.
This is gonna now, like, Hive is actually on the back foot. He has allowed his opponent Oz to get back into this game, build up the army he wants, and any attack that Hive has tried against his opponent has been thwarted, essentially here.
Hive finally out on the way as 8 Infestors are being mixed into the army, but Hive just wants to apply constant pressure, and this time around, Oz's units are out of position to defend against the attack.
Uh-oh, this is actually really bad. He's going to lose a Void Ray, and he may lose the Colossus as well here, and a lot of tech is going to get picked off here as well. The Stalker is moving forward here from the natural. This is going to force Hive back, but not before he picks off the Cybernetic score. A few of these Hydras trying to kill Void Ray here and there. The Corruptors as well. Actually, the positioning looking really good overall for Oz here. And oh no, the Infestors are going to get picked off by these Zealots as well here. Not looking amazing for Hydra. Has been thwarted on the main front as well. Oz did lose a few buildings and a few units, but overall not enough for it to be a big deal.
Just really unfortunate that Infestors came out just as Oz wanted to go for the Zealot harassment into the main base. He does have some Infestors still alive and well, and we have 24 Roaches in production from our Zerg player, and the War Prism still not taken out inside the 5th base.
It looks like Hiva's composure starting to fall apart here slowly but steadily. Oz remaining very stalled throughout the entire game. He's got a great economy. His unit composition is looking very powerful, adding in some Templar. Use that Psionic Storm that has finished researching against his opponent's army as well. The Hydras and Zerglings, they're not going to do anything versus these Storms.
Yeah, the key point is Hiva. He is losing the He's losing the composure a little bit. His economy is perfect right now, sitting on 5 bases and the drone count is 71. Hold on, we have an engagement in the middle of the map.
Excellent Funkles go down, and Hiva actually getting a very, very solid engagement here, getting the Funkles that he needs, picks off 2 Void Rays, a lot of Stalkers on the ground as well. This is really just a back and forth game here. Both players seem to, just kind of slightly overextend here, but this is the attack that looks like Oz really wants here. Good feedbacks to go down the Storms, just obliterating the Zerg army and forcing Hiva back once again. He's going to pick off this pylon here, but now his army's been reduced to Roaches, a handful of Corruptors and Infestors.
Oh, those Corruptors cannot be in that position. Those are really crucial because Greater Spire is out on the way. He wants the Brewlords into the main army composition. In order to do that, he needs to save the Corruptor. So right now what Hiva has to do is make sure his opponent Oz does not move out on the map too quickly while buying enough time to get the crucial Brewlords out to defend against Oz's army and then go for a counter-attack.
Also looking at the creep spread on the map from Hiva, actually really good. Considering the stage of the game here. He's going for a very large counterattack here, though, and this is going to force Oz to either commit or attack into his opponent's base. No, he's going to stay kind of on Hiva's side of the map here. He's going to go for the attack. It looks like that's what he wants to, in fact, do here, but that means that he won't be able to defend against this Roach and Hydra pressure without some additional reinforcements.
Yeah, but Hiva also needs to decide. He does have the units over there, but he doesn't have enough units back at home to defend against what Oz has, and now we have a small base race scenario between the 2 players.
That's what it's looking like here. Excellent Storms go down on the Roach. Is going to force them behind. The supplies are still almost dead even between each player here. I think over time, we should be able to see our Protoss player Oz defend here. Yes, he has a lot of Stalkers in the main base now. With that Blink Micro, with the upgrades, they will be able to defend against this. The Hive, it's going to end up falling to the Colossus and Stalker Archon firepower here. This time around, Hiva's not getting the proper engagement. And more Warpins as well from Oz at that additional expansion there. Storms continuing to go down on this army. Hiva cannot simply get a proper engagement here.
And eventually, even if you take out all the tech buildings inside the main base, you need to take out this Protoss army, but he cannot do so at this point. He only has 19 Roaches, 4 Corruptors, and 1 Hydra. No more minerals being mined. Not that much minerals being mined right now as Hiva is sitting on 2 digits in the mineral spot. Look at this 2k gas saved up. That's the reason why you don't see any Brewlords from our Zerg player.
All of his tech is being taken out as well here. He lost the Greater Spire. He's going to lose the Hydrogen and the spawning pool as well almost instantaneously at the same time. The rest of these units getting picked off here. Fleet Beacon, though, on the way for Oz. He wants to end this game in style with some Tempests here. And as long as he keeps hacking away at the top right-hand base, there's not going to really be much of an economy for hyvaa to deal with. And yes, the hatchery does indeed fall here. More roaches are being produced. That's pretty much all that hyvaa can make at this point.
Yeah, in fact, that's only 176 supply from our Protoss player to 153, as hyvaa is only relying on roaches, which is not going to win him the game.
No, it's not. I mean, he's got like a single Infestor, I think, here, and a few of Corruptors. But, I mean, this army isn't even Colossi or Void Ray based at this point. It's just Archons, Blink Stalkers, you know, just a tiny bit of other supporting units to the cast at this point. And I'm not sure if hyvaa can really actually make something happen here. Hold on, though. That was an excellent fungal there. And the storms are great, but look at how many High Templar died to that single fungal on the roaches. Thankfully, though, time is on Oz's side here. All he has to do is just keep picking off more and more units, and he eventually should become victorious here.
Yeah, definitely. As hyvaa, he only has a handful of roaches running away from the Archons, the Blink Stalkers, the Colossus also sitting in the back. All the Corruptors get taken out, as he has no answer against the Tempest and the Colossus.
I feel like it's just it's a ticking time here for hyvaa. He doesn't have much he doesn't have the proper unit composition. That's his biggest issue here. He has a little bit of economy. It could be a lot better in this scenario. He's on about 3 bases right now. I think one of them's pretty much dried up. And Oz, on the other hand, he's got 5 bases overall total, including the ones that have dried out here. He's maxed out now compared to a 150 army. hyvaa, once again, he's really favoring these run-by tactics throughout the entire course of the game, but Oz says, I don't care, I'm going to take out some more units, and no, going to go ahead and recall here the deal with the Roach threat.
Yeah, those roaches are just going to get eaten apart as the Blink Stalkers block the roaches from going home, and these Archons are ripping apart in the 3rd base.
Looks like this attack has been thwarted here. hyvaa saying he just simply can't make the run-bys work, unfortunately. As long as Oz keeps these bases alive. Well, hold on, there's some roaches over here as well. At the 5th base of Oz, going to be able to pick off a good amount of workers. And we have a single Tempest going to work on this expansion over here for hyvaa at the normal natural position that he didn't take until much later in the game.
Yeah, and hyvaa's doing a nice job taking out the Nexus in the bottom left corner, but now hyvaa is down to 2 mining bases. These Spine Crawlers are not going to finish on time, as these roaches are being attacked by the Probe and the Nexus Cannon.
I have to admire hyvaa for consistently trying to attack throughout this entire game, but it's gotten to the point where his tech has been crippled. He doesn't have much of an economy here, and this is the only tactic he can rely on, but in the long run, it's not going to work.
Yeah, in fact, I would not be surprised if hyvaa taps out anytime soon, as he's only down to 1 hatchery. He doesn't have any tech. He does have the minerals and the gas, but he cannot make any units other than Zerglings.
His bank is slowly starting to run out here. He's got about 1,000 resources, 2,500 gas. But, I mean, it's not going to last much longer. He's already on the 50 supply to about 150 of his opponent here. This is the last stand for hyvaa at his natural, pretty much the last mining base as well. The Tempest attacking from one side, the Blink Stalkers moving in, Archons as well, killing the drones that are being moved off the mineral line, and there is absolutely nothing that hyvaa has left to deal with. This Protoss army has got to tap out now. There's nothing left that he can do against his Protoss opponent, Oz.
Yeah, that's going to be it. Even looking at the camera, GG is called from hyvaa, as Oz takes set number 4 against hyvaa on Korhal Floating Island.
That was an intensely back and forth match throughout almost the entire game. Eventually, though, Oz was able to grab a very large advantage later on in the game. Took that to victory. hyvaa, though, I mean, I think that he did a little bit too much with the run-bys.
He should have gotten the hyvaa a little bit quicker into the game and just transition into late game Zerg army rather than staying in the layer tech for the remainder of the game.
Indeed, so the score now 2-2. Oz defeats his opponent hyvaa, and now the next map in the set is going to be Trap versus Revival. Newkirk will have that match after this commercial.